Hello? 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 If you can hear this, it's not too late. I return to warn you. This is Time Pop, a podcast that discusses time travel and pop culture. There are spoilers. I've seen the future, and nothing is sacred to these folks. Your past, present, and future are sure to be ruined. Even if you could go back in time, as I have, you will never forget what you are about to hear. You've been warned. This is Time Pop.
Have we arrived?
We have arrived.
Welcome, Chrononauts, as we guide you through the experience of time travel using pop culture as our kangaroo. We will be your constants. I am Dez.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Scott.
And this is
Time
Pop!
Time Pop. I already said it in the future.
Pop.
So, you know.
It's all happening at the same time.
Everyone out there, you're welcome for that Time Pop. Scott is recording locally. He's getting his own capture of this beautiful conversation. So when I scream over them, as I always do, he won't be cut off. He can just continue making his point while I...
And then I thought the movie was really good because of this man. And then it was the best ever. And then I thought...
And then they arrived, and there was a canary in the thing.
And when she said it, and he did it.
Okay.
See, all of that is going to be heard.
So are you saying that you can control the time of our podcast, of when you say and what I say? You can control time.
Yeah, I'm just going to play my whole track and then your whole track after it.
Like 3-second lag.
And then just put it all together like a heptapod.
Yeah, heptapod. I want a new sports team to be like the Oakland Heptapods.
Yes. So today, in the present, we will be discussing Arrival from the past, and you will listen to it in the future, which is now. Arrival from 2016, PG-13, just under 2 hours. This is a fucking Denis Villeneuve vehicle. I forget how Villeneuve this movie is.
Yeah, him and Chris Nolan play basketball together, I think, or racquetball together.
Thank you so much. I was like, if they give him too much shit for this movie, I'm gonna jump on them about their love for Christopher Nolan because they went.
They play racquetball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when they play racquetball, they play really slow, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Chum 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 chop 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 chop.
So I'm gonna start by thanking Cassandra for giving me a reason to watch this movie again, because I know I enjoy this movie, but I also know it's very Villeneuve, and if I don't have an excuse to really watch it, it's easy to zone out a little bit at the end, and then you miss the whole fucking point.
Yeah, this is not a movie that you want to rewatch. Right? You don't.
I don't know. I disagree.
Watch today.
You could say that about Interstellar.
Watch something we haven't watched in a long time. How about you never think of Arrival? Interstellar, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interstellar is so much different than this.
But it's not an easy watch, Interstellar, either. They're both long, slow, deep dives.
But there's a little action in Interstellar to kind of break it up. It goes up a little bit.
Plus, this movie has a twist, and once you know the twist, it's like, eh.
Yeah, and this would be very easy to make a 90-minute cut of this movie and not.
Oh my God, yes.
Not lose its full take. I would watch the shit out of 90-minute Arrival.
You do a fan cut and edit. So the reason we haven't done this is obviously an important film, and it's questionable about its use of time. But what the audience should know is that Ari has a pre-hate of this film, so we just kind of stood away from it for a while.
Let me tell my story. Stop trying to mansplain. Thank you. Jeez. So
Ari, you hate this movie. Next.
No. So I must have seen it when it came out, whenever that was. When was that? 2016?
2016, yeah.
Okay. So, yes, I did not like this movie. Sometimes where you are in life when you see a movie affects how you see it or how you feel about it. But no, I didn't like this movie. And seeing it now again, knowing all the things that I know, I appreciate more the concepts of the time and the aliens, and I'm really looking forward to discussing all this stuff with you. But I still do not like this movie. It leaves me with this like yucky feeling. And I don't know if it's the story or the slowness or the darkness of it or the music. I don't know what it is, but I finished watching this movie and I'm just like, I feel yucky. I feel like not good and grumpy and like not, I don't know what it is. And it's not just because it's early in the morning. It's not just because we woke up and started watching this right away. This movie is not for me. I love a lot of the concepts about it. I'm excited to talk about, but no, don't like this movie.
I'm surprised that you're not coming in a little bit happier because you only watched the second hour this morning, and I would think that would be the like good hour. And because for me, it's the crushing, the dragginess of the first hour leads into the second hour, and you're just like, are we doing something finally? And so I would think that watching it in two parts would be kind of the way to go. Just get the first hour out of the way.
No, it still drags, and it's still, we had to watch it during the day just with how life worked out. And this movie is so dark, visually dark, that there was like, we couldn't we couldn't tell what we were looking at. We just couldn't. And then there's like the multiple lines of Forrest Whitaker were like, what did he say? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel like rewinding it.
Subtitles, baby!
What did the alien say? Front. Okay.
God bless subtitles. I got it all.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know something that I learned? You want to learn something that I learned 3 days ago?
Sure.
Yeah.
I own this movie and have for 6 years.
Did you buy it again? You tried to buy it and they were like, you already bought it, asshole? Yeah.
Because it's not like I ran out, was like, I gotta buy Arrival, but I think it was one of those things where it's a $4 rental or a $7 purchase.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to definitely watch this movie twice in my life. So let's just throw the money on the table and get on with it.
Nice. And it worked.
Now, this would have been, and I don't know, it might have made it worse for you, R.A., being trapped, but I think I would have loved this movie in the theater, like just being engrossed in it and just like really there with them and the music booming.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I saw Dune in the theater and it was like slow in the sounds and the vibrations, and Blade Runner also, like.
Yeah.
I mean, the films are dark. He's a definitive style, right?
Yeah.
It's dark and slow and a little bit odd.
I was looking at my my father-in-law's massive new TV, and for a minute I was like, oh my God, I need a big ass TV. And then I thought about it, I was like, you know what? My next TV might be smaller so I can afford the kick-ass sound system.
Oh.
Because that's what I want. I want a fucking subwoofer in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And 3 speakers behind me. I would take a 22-inch TV if I could have all that sound. Shocker, everyone, I'm a sound guy.
No shit.
And it took me 4 years to get Scott settled into good sound. So I'm not a good sound guy. I'm just a sound guy.
You can hope to upgrade to good sound guy.
That's right. I'm a passable sound guy.
Yeah.
So Arrival starts. So let's just... I'm gonna say Ari's line. You've seen the movie.
You've seen the movie. We have assumed that you've seen the movie. Let's jump into the fun stuff. Please, I beg of you.
And let's honor the film's plot by the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end, and wherever we start, that's kind of the perspective.
There we go.
We can go in and out of time of this film like the film is created.
Why is she depressed at the beginning of the movie?
We just assume she is. We just assume she's depressed. Never does it say. She just is acting sad. That's just maybe who she is. But in the very beginning of the movie, they give you the little montage of her daughter's life and death. So we just assume she's depressed.
They're messing with you, yeah.
But she's a little, I mean, yeah, you're right.
You don't see much. You just see her like sitting in the shadows, drinking like coffee, and then you see her in a class that has 5 people. They jump into the plot really quick.
Is she coming out of relationship? I don't think we get that, but like.
No, they show the whole beginning, the thing with the daughter dying. Then you just see her alone, like a silhouette, I think, having coffee. Then you see her, there's like news. She goes to class. There's only 5 people. And then we get into it. So she's actually, they're just kind of messing with us a little bit. to get a little bit of a twist.
Showing us what we need. Because, yeah, she's kind of laying in bed where you kind of get the idea that she's depressed and she just can't get out of bed.
You also could argue, that the story of this movie is told from her voiceover where she's like saying, this is when the story began. And if the movie is kind of from that perspective, she's already at that point where she experiences all of time at the same time. So she could already be depressed in that sense of like, now that that's all full circle, her past self already knows the future self that's going to be sad. And
yeah,
so that's all at the same time. So you could argue that for funsies.
I'm having fun. Let's have some fun.
That's for funsies.
Let's make a rifle fun, guys. That's your challenge.
I like it. Time is not linear. It's happened. It's always happened.
Yeah, this is right up your alley, Scott.
It's up my alley. And to what's unique about this is not just that time has happened, it's always happened, but to perceive all of time at one time.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's a phenomenal concept.
Yeah.
We've seen it a couple other times. The first thing that comes to my mind is the Watchmen show. Where that guy can perceive
the
all
movie
time, all at once.
Dr. Manhattan, right.
Yeah.
He's having an argument with her and he already sees, he's like, right now we're kissing for the first time 20 years ago, but we're having a fight and I'm on the moon and I don't see, like, he knows all of it and he's fighting with her. And so to him, he's like, what? He's already seen it all. He has no emotions about it. He's like, what's this?
Yeah.
It's all just happened and it's happening and it is what it is.
So within this concept where all time is either happening at once or has happened, I don't know the answer to this, so I'm throwing it out there. Can you change it?
That's a great question.
This is the number one question I think we need to talk about.
I was reading up on the film a little bit and they brought up that point. They're like, some of this suggests that you can't, right? Because it's just like, it's all happened. And some says, even in the system, why not? Like yeah. There's a theory out there that free will cannot exist in a circular viewing of time. But the same time, the circle is to say the circle can't be altered. There's no reason to believe if she decides a different path, then it could just kind of change everything from start to finish at the same time. It's not defined.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a theory.
It's the two theories.
It's all a theory, so it's our opinion. What's our opinion?
Could the heptapods just keep retrying until they get the outcome they need?
They got what they wanted.
Right, but I'm saying, let's say she gets shot at the end before she gets a chance to go to the future and talk to the...
I mean, they've already seen that that's not what's happened. For them, they already know that they come down here, she does it, and then they help them in 3,000 years. They already know all of it.
Yeah.
They see it that way.
In my opinion, for this story, for this universe, you cannot change it.
Right.
Yeah.
It more makes sense for that.
Because we will get into the whole ethical part of and moral dilemma of this woman choosing to have this baby with this man who is going to die, right? And like one day later, and it would have been a different baby, right? So it's in my opinion, in this movie, you cannot change it.
It makes more sense that you cannot change it. It's a little bit of a mind fuck to think otherwise. Sure, if everything already happened and is happening and you know it all and it's all just a thing, it's all just a circle, at what point you break it and then if a new circle begins, your whole understanding of what you've seen and already known now does shift with that. It'd be an interesting concept for a different movie. It's a little harder. Oh. It's a little harder to comprehend scientifically how that would work if you could change it.
Yeah, because if you've already seen it, then it's done.
And again, I like to impress this idea because we've talked about this and people say, well, then there's no free will. And I always say, no, there is free will. You've always had it and you've always had the same stimuli that has you made the same choice with your free will, but that's always how it's gone.
Yeah.
There is the argument that, like, you know, in the movie, she's seeing the future for when she met with the Chinese prime minister or whatever he is.
Yeah.
And he told her what she said. And like, she can't change anything so that she can then fulfill, you know, the thing and save the world. But after that's done and the rest of her life, she technically could change things. After she saves the world, she could choose.
Right. Like, let's say she sees her own death and she can be like, I'm going to make sure I'm not in Denver that day.
I mean, if you had the ability to, see your own death and it was some crazy accident that could have been prevented, human nature will try to prevent that.
Yeah.
Right.
You will try to or save a loved one. You know, it's just human nature. That's what would happen.
And if anything drastically changed, the heptapods probably come back to that moment in time.
Yeah.
To nudge you for their survival.
Which suggests that it's not changeable because they need their help in 3,000 years. Do you know how many times you would change the course of the timeline in 3,000 years?
Because like the conversation Kelly and I got into was, okay, let's say she decides not to tell Jeremy Renner when she told him. eventually Jeremy Renner, his daughter dies, and he says, "You fucking knew, didn't you?" And she's just like, so he's going to leave her either way, whether she tells him when she tells him or he finds out when he finds out.
Right. So the concept in this movie is that once you fully learn to speak this language, right, manipulate the smoke in the air or the ink in the air, whatever it is, you then acquire the ability to see all of time, see the future, the past, everything, right? So is it safe to believe that she's the only person on Earth who has this ability? Or
At this point, yes.
Or do other people eventually get this ability as well?
I think when she writes the book, that's teaching them the language, and then everyone else would have the ability.
Yeah, I don't, but no one else is immersed in it the way she is.
No, she's the first one in the movie, but in the future, she writes a book teaching the language to everybody. So everyone who reads that book can learn it.
Well, but I think that her senses are heightened for actually commute. Even if you and I went and learned Spanish together, we still would not be immersed in the Spanish culture. So she can teach this language to her students, but since her students aren't hanging out with the aliens immersed in the language, they won't get the same outcome.
Yeah, but I got it more of like a superpower, mythical, I don't know what you would call it, like ability. She started being able to see the future early on.
But that's because it already happens in her future.
But
once she started understanding the language, and then it happens more and more.
It's like as soon as she got there, she started having these visions.
Well, that's because in the future, she is going to be immersed in the language. So her future self is already affecting her past self.
I took it as they chose her. They chose her because someone needed to be able to do that to save the world, right? And she was the one chosen, and they kind of instilled that ability on her. Like, I took it as they're kind of a telepathic creature, and they initially chose her, which started the process, because in the future, yes, it becomes full circle. I took it as she's the only one in the world with this ability. Because imagine if everybody had this ability, people would try to change things. It's human nature.
But that's the whole point of what they're uniting at the end, and she's made the book teaching them all the language.
So everyone in the world
in the future
knows the future?
In the future, she published the book. What was it? I forgot what the book was called.
Universal
but it had
language.
The universal language. So it's...
Oh, yeah. But she also gets, I feel like part of her transformation was touching the language when those particles came into her, again, being more immersed in the language than just book learning.
Yeah, when she was in the room with the smoke, like something happened, something changed her.
Because she kind of like looked at it and was still a little confused until it kind of dissipated into her hands.
Yeah.
And then that's when it was like, whoa.
Well, she was able to move her hand around in the air in a circle and make the language appear.
That's right.
She did it. She but with her mind, fully moved the little ink particles and wrote a word or wrote a sentence. So.
But I mean, the whole point, I think, what the film was trying to say was the hypothesis, right? That you had up, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis.
Yeah.
That the way you interpret language is the way you understand, perceive reality or communication. And so they're saying the way they write is starts with one and the other. And once you understand the language, that affects your vision of time. I mean, that's essentially what they're trying to say. So it would almost go against it. I don't think she's got superpowers, but it did seem like when she touched the wall with them, that was a special moment.
Yeah.
But what they seem to try to suggest is by understanding their language, it affects how you perceive time. And that's what's so special, that the language is circular and all that.
Time that way.
So there's a paper I'm looking at. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis holds that human thought is shaped by language, leading speakers of different languages to think differently. And they're saying in this paper that computationally, it doesn't hold true, which kind of leads me to believe that again, reading a language off of a book is not going to give you the same. So unless all of planet Earth transitions into this form of communication, it's not going to give everybody the time travel aspect of it, which in 3,000 years, who knows?
Yeah.
That's it's supposed to unite the Earth and change our evolution so we can help the aliens in 3,000 years. I mean, maybe her book is not teaching them. Maybe it's about her working with that language and the combinations of that with other language and just theory. But they did come for a purpose, and it wasn't just for her to stop a war that they would have started. They call it a weapon, and they gave it as a gift for her to share with the world.
Well, the weapon part, I believe, was misunderstood. It was
it's a tool. It's a tool.
Yeah, it was a gift. So if you think about the concept of a gift, it's very important. It's very powerful. You think about a weapon, very important, very powerful, and so that got lost in translation, which was interesting. I liked that. And
she starts to develop her own hypothesis when she realizes that even their language has no forward and backward. Like it seems like the same, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, it has the same meaning.
Yeah, they start the full sentence. It starts at the one end and then at the other and meets in the middle. And
I liked the design of the aliens. I liked that they kind of looked like octopus, like an octopus.
A hand. They looked like I always think of them as a hand.
Yeah, what was 7, right? They have 7 legs. They've done studies on octopus and he's shown they're very intelligent and, can have almost emotions. And there's that documentary about my octopus teacher. And
yeah,
they're a very fascinating creature. I've always been really fascinated with that animal. So I liked that they kind of modeled the aliens after that. I liked that. There's a lot of things I liked about this movie. I liked the use of the way gravity changed when they went inside the alien ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
You almost needed something like that because it's kind of a bare bones, movie when you really break it down. And so adding that extra, like they're doing something weird to the gravity. But I had a question as to the explosion scene.
I was about to ask about that too. Yeah.
So did somebody throw like a grenade up there? Who made the explosion?
They set bombs.
Is that what the countdown was? Was a bomb?
Yep.
Who did that?
There's some guys that were going up there. They don't really go deep into it, but like
they hint at it.
Yeah, they show the guy on the phone with his wife just being like, don't worry, we're going to take care of it.
Oh, that guy.
They were watching that YouTube guy that was like, someone's got to stand up. And those military guys that were listening, this is not okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think I picked up on that the first time that I watched it, but this time it was so dark, I think we missed some of the little nuances.
So the aliens were protecting them. They kind of pushed them out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, was he banging on the glass to say, look over there? Or was he banging on the glass to say, come? Because she ends up going over there, and I think she learned something, but I think he was like trying to point, like, over there, lady.
Yeah, but so the aliens saved them by kind of pushing them out. So, I mean, obviously just the way that their spacecraft just hovers, their interaction with the laws of physics are extremely different than ours on Earth. And that was really cool too. And how the ships disappeared was very cool.
Yeah. Do you think they were now we're really just fucking guessing.
Yeah.
But since there's no time for them, like, are they just back at their planet?
No, they flew into the clouds. Yeah, they didn't really disappear.
No. They disappeared.
At the end, they disappeared.
Yeah. They're white, smoky particles that were in their area when she went in and her hair was doing all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
It looked like that stuff kind of enveloped their spacecraft and it just like disappeared. So I don't know I took this as they have the ability to see all of time. I did not take this as they have the ability to time travel.
Agreed.
So this movie to me has no actual time travel in it. It is purely just the ability to see the future, the past, all of that
Perceive all of time happening at the same time.
So my question to you is this a time travel movie?
Okay, now you're not officially traveling, but you are perceiving yourself. She's going in and out at different times. She's perceiving herself in the future and in the past.
I mean,
her conscious is traveling. Her consciousness technically was traveling. She was going to her daughter and she got the zero-sum wins and came back to the present and said it. She was talking to the guy in the future to get the stuff he said to stay on the phone now. You could argue that's consciousness traveling.
Is it consciousness or is it a memory?
A memory of the future.
Of the past. I see. Because she was her future self was reacting to her past self being there. Like there was definitely like a pause in her demeanor of like
her consciousness is popping around because all times happen has always happened. Her consciousness is going to the future, pulling from the future and the past. It is technically, traveling, it's doing that. It's not because it's all at the same time.
It's as much time travel as the butterfly effect. Or do you think because he's actually, I guess in the butterfly.
I mean, that's not all happening at the same time. That is actually was a linear timeline that he changed.
Oh, that's right. And he passes out in his past. Like his consciousness is gone.
Yeah.
Because it was ripple effect.
It's a great argument. This one it definitely deserves to be in the show because it'll never be clear. Again,
yeah.
Theoretically, her consciousness hops in different times, but the whole concept of the film is that it's all just happening, and they'll just see it as one thing. So it's a great debate.
In that case, there's never anything. Time travel definitely doesn't exist if it's all just happening, because there is no past or future. There is only now. But
depends how we want to. But if we want to perceive it as we perceive it, her consciousness does pull from then to now.
Oh, you mean like a human?
Yeah, like a dumb human.
Oh,
it's a great debate.
Yeah,
I don't think we can come with a clear. You could argue both ways.
So, can we talk about the ethics, the moral ethics?
Absolutely.
So, we have already kind of established that in this universe, in this movie, whatever has happened has to happen.
And already has happened. And that you cannot change it. But just imagine what this woman has to deal with. The thought of, I'm about to have a baby who is going to die eventually, early, with a man who I'm going to eventually tell. Like, I'm not going to tell him when we make the baby, but I am going to tell him eventually. And it's going to be hard and sad. But at the same time, it's almost like she's experienced it in her head. And so it's like that cope ahead thing you do, when
she's already experienced her love for her daughter.
The loss.
And the loss. But then to not have her is to not experience this family member that she loves and is also like a part of her already. I get what you're saying normally, but this is a different scenario.
So if we took out you can't change what is going to happen in this movie, I think that most people would try to change it. I think that she would not have sex that night and she would try that different night.
Well, she doesn't know unless she knows the birth date and waits months.
No, that whole scene where she invites him inside and she's drinking the wine and he says, "Do you want to make a baby?"
Oh, fuck.
She knows when it happened.
No, but that's the whole point.
That is the whole point.
She's already experienced this. She loves her daughter. That'd be like killing her daughter by not having it in her mind because she has already experienced, even with the pain, she has all those good years with her. And then to eliminate this person she loves from her life would be.
I mean, I think it's it's better to have loved and lost than to not have loved at all. But I still do believe that if you took out the law of this movie where you can't change anything, I think she and anyone in that situation would have tried to change it. I know I would have.
I think it's different. If it was a thing where someone told you about the future and you didn't experience it yet, then you would be like, yeah, I'm not going to go through. That's probably going to put me through pain. But in the fact that she's already experienced having this daughter and loving her, then that would feel to her like killing a daughter that she already knows.
But I mean,
because she's already experienced it.
The amount of pain and suffering for her daughter, and for
her daughter
and the guy.
But she's already experienced all of it. To her, it's all part of the big circle.
Yeah,
I quote our most recent movie, Meet Cute.
Oh, no.
When I say we are our trauma. Like, you take away my fucking trauma, you take away who I am.
And if you see it as a big picture, you see your whole life as this one circle. It's all just parts of the thing. You're not so stuck on the one like, this is all makes me what I am. This was my life. It's all this big thing. Just a whole different concept.
Now, here's a question. Is her daughter's rare incurable disease brought on by whatever
alien infection
she could?
No.
I don't think it's supposed to be that.
No, probably not. But I really struggle with that part of the movie. Like, I understand we've established that you can't change anything in this movie, but I really struggle with that because, you could, let's take away that law, but you could try to change things.
Yeah.
You've already saved the earth. You've already written your book. Why not save it for another night? Or,
because that's her daughter.
Yeah. Or tell him, be like, hey, I know the future. This is what I know, before they slept together, and see what his reaction is. And that would have changed things,
Yeah.
But I understand it's better to have loved and lost and, I don't have kids. Maybe I don't get it. But like, that's huge that you have this child and it looks like she dies when she's like 16 or something.
At the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the amount of pain and sadness and suffering. It's just like, whoa.
Because I wouldn't do it for my pain. I would do it for my daughter's pain, because you know how much pain she went through because of this disease. But then again, like Scott says, then you're just completely erasing this person from existence.
That you already know.
And she even her daughter, like giving her daughter the ability to exist for 15 years and be part of this universe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. She says it's better, she chooses it with the pain to experience the love. And
it's better to have loved and lost.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that is interesting because, it appears that, this becomes a universal language. Now, most likely her daughter is learning this language and doesn't seem to be reacting to the future. Like her daughter...
They didn't suggest that. I don't know.
Well, we suggested that if you're learning this language...
Yeah.
You now can perceive all of time.
I see what you're saying, Des.
She published a book. We don't know how long it took her to write the book. She had the daughter like right away, so it could have taken her 10 years.
Well, after this experience, the whole world would be like, give us this information. Like, what is going on?
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I think that she might be the only one who has this ability because she had that close interaction with the aliens. Because I mean, if everybody had this ability, it would change things.
Yeah, the film is post-apocalyptic a little bit, right? In the beginning. It was really interesting take.
Yeah.
Well, it was pre-apocalyptic.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Pre-apocalyptic.
Oh, I liked that the Chinese they used mahjong to teach language to the heptapods, which means they taught them a game. And as we learned in, what's the Matthew Broderick movie?
War Games.
In War Games, if you teach someone that life is a game, then there's a fucking winner, which means there's a fucking loser, and you get all kinds of bad things.
Yeah, that was a really interesting concept. I like that too.
That was very interesting. I liked that a lot. I liked that they talked about, as far as being submersed in the language, how when you start to dream in another language, that's when you really are like deep into, like, I can't imagine people who are like fully bilingual or trilingual or something like that.
I had a friend in high school who was trilingual, Spanish, French, and English, and she used to always dream in French.
Really?
Only French. Yeah.
Whoa. Was that her native tongue?
Her mother is French, her father is Spanish, and then she lived in in America. So, I don't know what her official first language was, but she learned all three from the beginning. And she would always, I think it was like the majority of the time, dream in French.
I would be curious to learn about more people and see how womb-based that is. For 9 months, she mostly heard French before she was born.
Yeah.
If that is what got injected into her subconscious.
It's interesting.
I like the little touch of her daughter's name is Hannah, because that's a palindrome. Just like Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet.
Tenet. If we have, I'm just going to read this how I wrote it. It might not make sense. If we have 3,000 years to learn to communicate with the heptapods, shouldn't they be better at communicating with us? Or by the time we go to them, are we purely heptapodal lingual? Like, if we go to the heptapods in 3,000 years and they're so fucking smart, wouldn't they know English?
So, yes.
Well, they did. Remember at the end, she just spoke to them and they answered with their...
Yeah.
So they understood her at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think they were exchanging how to communicate. They went back, I think, at that time because it was a pivotal time for us.
If they needed us so badly, wouldn't it have... Well, no, because we have to learn their language. If we don't learn their language, then we don't learn what we need to know to go help.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
You answered your own question.
I knew that was going to happen.
This is like therapy. This is like time travel therapy.
Well, what do you think, Desmond?
We're helping you guide yourself to the answer.
How does that make you feel?
I guess they would do it this way and they would do that. Oh.
Here's what I have to say to that. Doc, note I dissent. A fast never prevents a fatness. I diet on cod. There. That's all I have to say.
You made a palindrome?
Wow. I read a palindrome. I can't do a 50-letter palindrome.
Palindrome sentence.
Are you not drawn onward We few drawn onward to new era.
People just spend time trying to make palindrome sentences.
Wait, is the F the very middle?
Are we not drawn onward? We few drawn onward to new era.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. God, you are quick, Ari.
Well, yeah.
You're like, there's only one F in that fucking sentence. So what the hell is going on? That was beautiful.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of great things about this movie. The concepts, the aliens, the language.
Ooh.
I don't know really what it is. I just still don't like this movie.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, I would walk away with this the same feeling I do from Dune or Blade Runner. It's dark, it's slow. There's a lot of like thumping low bass.
Yeah, but I
It creates a
love
world.
Blade Runner.
The second one.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I love all the Blade Runners, especially
And
the first
Dune.
one.
Dune was great too.
But I don't know what it is. If it was the execution of this movie, I just don't like it.
It's like dark and murky. At one point, I think Ari said to me, like, what, it's always dark here. And I think they're trying to give you that sense, like she's always waking up and like to get sleep, I don't know, a little. And she's just kind of out of it. And whatever time it is, it doesn't matter. It could be 5 a.m, 4. There's just this constant like pressure, and she's asleep and she's out of it and she's remembering things. And it puts you in this kind of crazy state where you're not sure what's real and what's not. I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, it was probably intentional, but
it's blurry, right? It's very blurry a lot, and it's very dark, and you just don't know what the fuck's happening.
So at almost the exact 30-minute mark, they enter the ship, making this a 90-minute movie. So next time I watch this,
just start there.
I'm going to start it at the 30-minute mark and see if it kind of speeds up and it's like, oh, cool language, time travel, all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like it's an interstellar beginning. Like they get into it real quick. Like she just goes into class and there's 5 people and like check the news and aliens are here, which is it's great that they hop into it, so they don't develop that much before then. But you could argue if a mother knows they love this daughter and the daughter is going to like die at 15 years, I'll bet she's real attentive and a real part of her life.
That kid probably had the best life possible.
See? She was like, mom's like, I'm not going to write my book for 15 years. I'm just going to play with you and be around. And
it's not like I have to save for college, you dumb baby.
Oh, no.
This is great. I don't have to save for college. It's, why?
But I mean,
why send her to school? Just take her to travel.
There was one point where she said she said something to the daughter, something like, you can be whatever you want or something. She said,
you're a fighter. You're unstoppable.
Yeah, just like you. So something like that, where it's just like, don't give this kid a hope. God, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, where's the montage of the kid laying in bed going, you bitch? I mean,
she did. There was one thing where she said she hated her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was like near the beginning.
I don't think the daughter knew. I don't think
she did either.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell somebody.
Well, no, but like by the time you're 15, you know your mom is different.
No, I don't think so. I got the sense that she never told her daughter. I don't think that it was like a public knowledge that she could see the future. That the main lady, I don't got that sense at all.
Yeah, the film keeps it vague, so we got to kind of come up with our own thing. I like that. We got to fill in our own blanks.
Well, thank you, Cassandra, for shoving this in our forefront. This was a great conversation. This was a good movie, a great conversation. And especially after, like I said, this just blows our genre conversation out of the water. Just like,
what kind of time travel is it? Yeah.
It's like, are they even time traveling? It's
debatable. It's worth it.
They come to Earth in a spaceship, but did they actually time travel, or was that spaceship always there?
Consciousness time traveled.
Memory.
Conscious memory time travel.
Thank you for listening to Time Pop. We hope you have enjoyed this journey through time. Please like, subscribe, and tell a friend about Time Pop. I want to welcome again all of our new listeners. K63 brought a lot of people into our fold, and hopefully you're sticking around for better conversation and better audio quality. If Scott can export it, I shouldn't talk yet. Scott's still got to export it and send it to me.
Oh, I'll export it. I've already done it. I've already seen it. It's already happened.
This podcast was great. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We are time_pop_pod. That is at time_pop_pod. Keep sending us great movie recommendations to timepoppod@gmail.com. You can also send any questions or comments from this or any past episode to the same address, timepoppod@gmail.com. Speaking of past episodes, I would like to send just a quick little thank you. I just want to send a quick thank you to Glenn Triggs, the writer and director of 41. He sent us just a quick little email saying that he listened to our show and he didn't call us assholes. So apparently we were polite about it, which is always good news. So thank you, Glenn Triggs, for checking out our show on your show.
On your movie.
And your movie, yes. And he's the one I'm definitely looking forward to. Bad Movie. He's the one he's got something on IMDb down the works called Bad Movie, where a movie critic gets trapped in a bad movie.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
So I'm going to be keeping my eye out on Glenn Triggs and that film. I just want to give just a shout out. Like I said, since he was kind enough to write to us, I'm just going to give a little shout out. His new movie that just came out is called Dreams of Paper and Ink. And apparently it doesn't have any dialogue in it.
Oh.
Wow.
That's probably very interesting. Yeah. I'm not going to shout out any of the other fantastic podcasts today because I want you to keep listening to this fantastic podcast and all of the past episodes that we have on Time Pop.
And the future.
Listen to some past episodes, and if you can't find your favorite time travel movie, then send us a letter and we'll do it soon. timepoppod@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Desmond McNeese.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Scott.
Bye.
Don't worry, I'm going to edit this. It's going to be slick. Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.